That little girl had no idea what she'd just started. Folks like to say a single spark can burn down a forest, and in our neighborhood, the spark was a sandwich. It began on an ordinary afternoon in Brookdale Park. 9-year-old Lila, skinny braids, bouncing a backpack almost bigger than her, spotted a man sitting alone on a bench. His clothes were torn, his hair matted, his hands wrapped around a cardboard sign that simply said, "Hungry." Lila didn't stop to think. She pulled out the peanut butter sandwich her mom had packed and held it out. "Here, mister. You can have mine." The man's pale blue eyes softened. "Thank you, little angel." "What's your name, Lila?" she answered proudly. "My mama says we help people who need it." She didn't notice the curtains twitching in the apartment building across the street. Mrs. Grant, the self-appointed watchdog of Maplewood Heights, had her phone out snapping pictures. Before the sun went down, that photo was posted in the community chat with a caption that dripped poison. "Look at what kind of people we let move in here, teaching their kids to hang out with vagrants." By the time Lila's mother Denise got home from her night shift at the hospital, 7 messages buzzed her phone. One was a note slid under her door. It read, "Control your daughter, or we will." Denise froze. She recognized the handwriting. Same woman who'd tried to block her from renting in that neighborhood 2 years earlier. But what no one knew, not Denise, not little Lila, not even the gossiping neighbors, was that the so-called homeless man on the bench wasn't homeless at all. His name was Henry Cole. And Henry could have bought the entire block in cash. He was a hotel mogul running his own undercover research on inequality. And when that sandwich landed in his hands, so did a mission. The next morning, the storm hit. A pounding at the door. Denise, still in her scrubs, opened it to find 2 officers flanking Mrs. Grant, who stood with a smirk wide enough to split her face. "Ms. Denise Carter," the taller cop asked. "We've received reports your daughter's been exposed to unsafe individuals. We need to ask you some questions." "What do you mean, unsafe?" Denise's voice shook. Lila peeked out from the kitchen, clutching a piece of toast. Her small voice cracked the tension. "Mommy, did I do something wrong?" Denise pulled her close. "No, baby. You didn't do a thing wrong." Then she glared at Mrs. Grant. "Some people just don't understand kindness." But it didn't end there. A social worker showed up, pressing Denise about whether she left Lila alone too often, whether she was fit to be a mother. Mrs. Grant chimed in. "An unsupervised black child in this neighborhood is a safety concern." Denise clenched her fists so tight her nails cut her palms, but she answered every question calmly. Still, by that evening, an official notice arrived, an investigation into neglect. She sat at the kitchen table, head in her hands, as Lila whispered through tears, "Mommy, are they going to take me away?" "Never," Denise promised, though her heart quaked. Across town in a penthouse suite, Henry Cole was watching the park footage again and again. He had people everywhere, assistants, lawyers, private investigators, and within hours he knew the truth. Mrs. Grant and her cronies were pushing families like Denise's out for a developer's profit. Henry leaned back in his chair, a cold smile curling. "Not yet," he told his lawyer on the phone. "Let's see how far they'll go. Document everything." And go far they did. Denise's bank account was mysteriously frozen. Her car was towed. At the hospital, someone filed anonymous complaints about her nursing. Parents whispered to their kids not to play with Lila. At night, the phone rang with ugly racist threats. Denise broke down once, just once, when Lila asked through sobs, "Why are people so mean? I just wanted to help." Denise kissed her forehead and whispered, "We don't stop being who we are no matter how they treat us." But inside, she was crumbling. Then came the residents' meeting. The whole courtyard filled with neighbors holding signs about protecting children. Mrs. Grant stood at the front like a preacher, her voice sharp as glass. "This community will not tolerate danger in our midst." Denise stepped forward, her daughter hiding behind her legs. "Danger. My daughter shared a sandwich. That's the danger you're talking about." The crowd murmured. Some shifted uncomfortably. And then Lila, trembling but brave, stepped out and asked Mrs. Grant, "Why don't you like me? I never hurt you." Silence. Thick, suffocating. A few neighbors lowered their eyes. Mrs. Grant hissed, "Little girl, There are unwritten rules about who we associate with. Someday you'll understand civilized society. Denise nearly lunged, but instead she held her daughter's hand tighter. Noted, she said through clenched teeth. Every word. That night her phone buzzed again. But this time it was a calm voice. Mrs. Carter, this is Mr. Cole's office. He'd like to meet with you. It's about the incident in the park. The next day, Denise found herself in a glass-walled office overlooking the city. And there he was. Clean suit, crisp haircut, but the same piercing blue eyes. You, Denise gasped. You're the man from the park. Henry Cole, he said, extending his hand. CEO of Cole International. And your daughter reminded me that kindness still exists. Now I want to show her that justice exists too. He slid a folder across the desk. Inside were photos, bank records, recordings. Your neighbor has been pocketing money from developers to push families out. The mayor and a judge are in on it. We've documented everything. Denise stared, disbelief and relief crashing together. Why show me this? Because I want you on my side, Henry said simply. Phase 1. I already bought your building. Mrs. Grant gets her eviction notice Monday morning. For the first time in weeks, Denise laughed. A shaky, disbelieving laugh, but real. That Monday, Mrs. Grant strutted into the courthouse, briefcase in hand, ready to finalize Denise's removal. Instead, she found Denise standing there with Henry Cole and a wall of lawyers. Henry's voice cut through the room like steel. For the past 15 days, my team has documented every threatening call, every false report, every meeting. Care to watch the footage on the screen? Mrs. Grant's voice played clear as day. These people don't belong here. A black child mixing with our children, it has to stop. Her face drained. You can't. This is illegal. Illegal. Denise finally spoke steady and calm. What you did to my daughter is illegal. What you did to this whole neighborhood is criminal. More evidence rolled out: bank transfers, signed contracts, even the judge caught on tape, trading favors for campaign donations. Reporters swarmed the hallway. Phones rang with breaking news alerts. By the time it was over, Mrs. Grant was facing eviction lawsuits and federal investigation. And Denise. She walked out, holding Lila's hand, head high, for the first time in months. 3 months later, Denise sat on the porch of her new home, a gift from Henry's Foundation for Families, targeted by housing discrimination. Lila ran through the yard with a golden retriever, giggling like none of it had ever touched her. The evening news showed Mrs. Grant's tear-streaked mugshot, her empire of influence reduced to rubble. Mommy, she's crying on TV, Lila pointed out. Denise sighed. Sometimes baby people only learn when they face consequences. Henry visited, often telling stories of other families the foundation was helping. And he always said the same thing when he saw Lila laugh. She never lost her kindness. That's what impresses me the most. Lila herself put it best at the opening of the new community center, built where Mrs. Grant's old building once stood. Standing on a small stage, she said, "My mom says kindness is like planting seeds. Sometimes it takes a while, but something good always grows." And the crowd, neighbors, families, kids, applauded with tears in their eyes. Now you can say what you want about justice, about revenge, about billionaires swooping in to play hero. But one thing's for sure, a child sandwich toppled a crooked empire. So I'll leave you with this. What do you think? Was it fair for Henry to use his billions to destroy Mrs. Grant and her allies, or should justice have taken a slower, more official path? And have you ever seen kindness mistaken for weakness? Drop your thoughts in the comments, because this is the kind of debate that shapes who we are as a society. And if this story hit you the way it hit me, make sure you subscribe. There are more battles of kindness versus prejudice waiting to be told.